Troy gets a ton of hate online, and honestly, I never really understood why. I watched the series once back 10 years ago when it aired for the first time, and everybody always says all he does is cry about Robo Knight. He has no depth. People love to point out one or two lines from the show and base all their judgments off of those specific moments.
Robo Knight, you have a mission to fulfill!
But this Red Ranger has taught us a lesson that, to my knowledge, no Red Ranger has ever taught us. If you apply this to your life, it will make a big difference. And after watching the series and asking the internet what makes a great Red Ranger, I can confidently say that Troy is a good, maybe even a great Red Ranger. So here we go.
Whatever happens, happens.
A lot of critics like to say that Andrew Gray's acting is really bad. He was a model who took on an acting career after that. Quickly, all personal stuff about Andrew aside, I understand some people find him extremely polarizing, depending on his political, religious, or social views.
Faith, family, community.
Some people might like him a lot, depending on his political, religious, or maybe social views. I'm looking at the character itself, and this isn't a commentary on the actor. The only thing I will add, talking about Andrew's portrayal of the character, is he was often told he couldn't do more than one take. He would ask to watch things back,
Play it again.
but was often shooed off or told that they were going to keep moving. Being new to acting, as well as being a lifelong Power Ranger fan, Andrew wanted to do a great job.
When I was in kindergarten, I put in a time capsule that when I grow up, I want to be the Red Ranger and be funny like Jim Carrey. So I'm halfway there. It just happened. It's serendipitous. And
his whole cast has vouched for him. They all feel he got a raw deal, especially when people start criticizing his performance. He and the rest of the cast even watched the Sentai shows that corresponded with their seasons, so they could get a better idea of what they were doing. So he really did put in the work, but one of the main rules of my channel, production is not to blame for what happens in the lore. Everything that is in the show must be canon. And that's the Mighty Morphin Conspiracy way. This lifeless portrayal he's accused of honestly gives Troy a very stoic sort of persona. He isn't the loudest, most charismatic leader in Power Rangers. He isn't the reluctant leader like Nick or Jack. When Troy came into the leadership position, he took charge immediately, delegating his team and running it like a well-oiled giant walking machine. This is the #1 requirement the internet said, is that you have to have great leadership skills. And I know this will upset some people, but he seems to follow more of a Carter Grayson sort of trajectory.
I'm done with you.
His leadership skills come from really good dedication. Troy is a martial artist. Sure, we see very little of that, honestly, in the show, but he is training prior to becoming a Power Ranger. He also trains his team. And you might think, doesn't everyone do that?
It's enough.
A lot of Red Rangers honestly don't train their team. Connor from Dino Thunder doesn't train his team or push them at all to do that. But Troy does push his team to train. Even for a leader like Jack and SPD, the team trains, but mentor Doggy Kruger's the real reason they do it. But even Tommy doesn't train the Dino Thunder Rangers at all when he's the mentor.
How dare you!
So the fact that Troy does train his team, despite having what a lot of the fandom considers one of the worst mentors in history, puts him above average when it comes to being a Red Ranger.
You need to edit that
This
out.
group of strong fighters doesn't just default you to being a great team. Troy also does more than training the body. He also trains the mind in ways.
Flowers bloom. Troy.
Wow, Emma, you're an incredible singer.
Thanks.
Incredible job today.
Thanks. That's what disabled his force field.
So the collar's what was generating the force field.
I think that's why he ran off.
Right. He had to fix it. It's his protection, but also his weak spot.
Nice catch. The next time we face him, we'll maneuver him into a position that exposes the back of
What you might have picked up on is two main points. Troy compliments his team a lot. Personal talents, giving good suggestions, ending most battles with a pep talk, complimenting specific team members for things they did. He spiritually makes them feel good. Doing this may seem small, but it does do so much for the camaraderie of the team. Also, encouraging them helps push them harder because they believe they can. The second thing is he listens to his team a lot. Sure, a lot of people might say all Red Rangers listen to their team, but without this quality, would he be a great leader? No.
I'm afraid that is not possible.
Troy truly has a gift of rallying the troops. Pep talks. He gets them fired up before going into battle.
No, it's not just us. Look around you. All the Rangers who came before us are here too. And they entrusted us with their power. Because they believe in us. So really, we're not just 5. We're over 100, all fighting for Earth. Yeah!
Let's get out there in the sky ship so we don't lose a moment when the Armada gets.
Now, most Rangers may not have the time for this, but Troy seems to make it a point before they jump into battle. He really sets the tone for the team before.
1,000!
Keep counting. You picked the wrong planet to attack.
Really?
You think this is just about us? We will never surrender!
Stay down, you pest!
Troy is always willing to jump in first and lead by example. You can see this when he takes on a monster when the rest of the team is too tired to go forward. He keeps pushing, which encourages them to follow him. Troy even goes as far as buying the team concert tickets, even ending a long day by buying the whole team a round of froyo. Sure, maybe it's small, maybe it's silly, but if you've ever worked in a company and someone brings in donuts to work, oh man.
You did a real good thing.
Okay, but I know what some of you are thinking. Who wouldn't do that? Being thrown into the heat of battle, of course he'd do those things. It doesn't make him a great Red Ranger. But what does make a great Red Ranger? I went online and I asked people specifically what makes a great Red Ranger, and I got a lot of good responses. Number one, as stated earlier, good leadership skills. He has shown that he can lead his team. That is undeniable. He does a great job delegating. Even if you want to try to point out something small like,
I told you, a ranger never lets go of his weapon. Next time, we just won't let go. That's all there is to it.
it's cheesy. Yes, people love to hate on it, but it's actually not wrong. In certain situations in the military, and I don't claim to know everything about the military, but there are certain times when a person is on patrol, and if they return and there's a bullet missing, or there's a part of their rifle missing, a pin or anything like that, that's a big deal. They keep very specific track of that. So if the military is that specific about keeping track of your weapon, then when he says a warrior never lets go of his weapon, it's not entirely wrong. It may seem silly to you, and yes, it's a kid's show. You might be saying, this is ridiculous. Why are you bringing this up? That's what this channel is about. We overanalyze Power Rangers.
That's what makes it fun.
So losing a weapon is a big deal, but even more important is the fact that it actually worked.
What?
They held onto their weapons and they bested the monster for it.
I guess that's that.
Other great comments I got about it was steadfast, compassionate, brave and encouraging, responsible, courageous, selfless, humble, encouraging their teammates, training their team, instincts when someone is wrong, responsibility, courage, strength, heart and soul, put their team first, gladly carry and elevate their team. But what Troy does outside of the suit, outside of the team, outside of that environment, shows his true character. In season 1, Troy encounters a couple bullies at school. Troy maintains his composure really well, even with them egging him on. He never gets violent. The bullies say, "Are you gonna cry?" Troy replies with, "Do you see any tears?" What I think is really interesting about this is he diffuses this situation. He doesn't back down, but he doesn't threaten them. He doesn't respond with, "You're gonna be the one crying," or "Why don't you make me?" Nothing like that. He keeps himself very humbled and centered. When the bullies are picking on another kid, he steps in. Again, he doesn't go straight to violence. When the team asks him, "How do you keep your cool?" he just says, "People like that don't bother me." This is a great life lesson. Keeping your cool in a high pressure situation or confrontational situation is a very, very good skill to have.
This is gonna be awesome.
And if you really think about it, Troy is keeping Zordon's rule of never escalating a fight. You might think, well, that's not a new lesson. Sure, we've seen that throughout Power Rangers, but that's actually not the lesson that I really think is impressive. Megaforce episode 4 was called Stranger Ranger.
He's saying that he's the Red Power Ranger.
Really?
I let loose with a flying roundhouse. And you want to know what I call that little move?
Can you believe that, Faker? You gonna do anything?
If you're brave.
Yeah. I'm going to take these to the recycling bin.
He doesn't belittle him. Jake kind of goes on the attack, kind of aggressively going at him a little bit, lecturing him. But Troy doesn't do that.
Hey, listen. What's your name? Jordan. Jordan, you shouldn't lie about being something you're not.
Yeah, you put yourself and the rest of us in big-time danger.
I know you want to help, but it takes special powers and serious training to fight these monsters.
It's not cool to sneak up on people.
I know you want to be like us. It takes dedication. You want to know what we do?
Looked easy, right?
Give it a try.
wanted to see what it was like to be looked up to for once. I get it. I'm no superhero.
It sort of shows him how challenging it is to be a ranger. Kind of a cool thing, because Troy doesn't have this like, I'm gonna spar with you and beat the crap out of you and then teach you a lesson. No, he just lets it naturally sort of unfold for this kid. At the end of the episode, the boy tells the truth to everyone around him, and everyone leaves him. What Troy does is really kind of cool. Troy befriends him at Ernie's.
That means a lot. Hey, have we met before?
I don't think so. I'm Troy.
Jordan. Actually, a new Jordan, because I learned a big lesson about myself today. Thanks to the Red Ranger.
A lot of people in this situation may say, well, that guy deserves it. View it as justified to treat him very, very poorly. But how many people would go out of their way to befriend someone like that? This sort of take on life is not an easy thing to do by any means. When someone is running their mouth, saying outlandish things that upset you, it's hard to show them a lot of kindness. But let's think about this. The last video I did was about Austin St. John and Jason David Frank, the beef between them throughout the years since Power Rangers. Back in Mighty Morphin Power Rangers, Austin St. John did run his mouth quite a bit. This really upset Jason David Frank a lot. He got really annoyed with him, and this carried on for about almost a 3-decade-long hatred between the two. Imagine if when Austin St. John was acting immature, instead of saying, well, prove it, or yeah, right, what if he said, hey, you know, I'd love to learn that technique you're talking about. Maybe you could show me sometime. Or, hey, I learned this thing the other day. Maybe I think you would really like it. Let me show it to you. What if he really took the time to say, hey, let's become friends. Let's find common ground. I don't claim that to be easy. There's people who are going to jump on and say, he doesn't need to do that because Austin St. John was such a jerk or whatever. I understand that completely. But the times in my life I've used this sort of advice. I run a 20-piece big band, and being a leader has not been easy for me. It's a struggle. A lot of times I feel like I'm just a leader because I have to be, because no one else is willing to be. But I had this situation where a band member kept flaking on rehearsals, and it was really frustrating. When I was young, probably gotten fired up about it and probably would have caused a bit of a rift between me and this person, but it took a step back. Why am I upset about this? And I messaged him, you weren't at rehearsal this week. It's frustrating to me because you're such a fun, likable person. When you're at rehearsals, the whole rehearsal is more fun because you're there. So when you're not there, annoying to me because I really want you to be there. What happened? His rehearsal attendance improved immensely. He isn't in the band right now because of just life in general, but we still maintain a friendship, which is great. And I'm so glad that I took that approach instead of saying, you know, you weren't at rehearsal, it's so disrespectful and blah, blah, blah. It wouldn't have been the right move. So I think this approach that Troy takes is a really, really impressive one, but it's really not easy to do. Troy is truly a mystery in Power Rangers. He has some sort of magical powers. He had this energy blast when he's fighting Robo Knight, when he's been evilly programmed. He has visions of the future with the legendary battle. We have no idea really where he's from. He moved to this place, you know, at the beginning of the series. So many cliffhangers, unanswered questions, and I'd love to actually get some answers to them in the future. We'll see. But if you're interested in seeing my big band that I just talked about, we have a video of us playing the Power Ranger theme song in a funk. I'd love for you to check that out. Have a good one, guys. Thanks for watching the video. Bye.